Hey guys, thank you for coming. My name is Yoni, and I'm the VP Creative of Playtika. Now, before I start, a few words about Playtika itself. Playtika is the world's leader in social casino games industry. It was established as a small startup 4 years ago by 6 guys, including myself. And since then, we've grown to almost 800 people, multi-games, multi-platforms, multi-million international company. Okay, so the topic of today's presentation is a long one, would be Slotomania, the secret behind a successful social online game loved by millions, actually by hundreds of millions in general. For me, there are 2 major secrets. The first one is the people. My team, people who I love, people who I enjoy to work with. And the second secret, and this is a secret we are going to talk about today, is the simplicity. For me, the simplicity is the essence of good product and good design. So, back to Slotomania. A short introduction. Slotomania is a social casino game. Now, for those of you who may not know, social casinos have nothing to do with real money gambling. It's a free-to-play, pure entertaining games that are much closer to a Candy Crush or Farmville than to any casino game. Slotomania is quite a successful application. In 4 years, it reached over 100 millions of unique installations, almost 100 games, and beats the top charts of every respectable platform you can think of. Those were taken yesterday, and those ranks are overall applications. Few slides to give you some context. This is the preloader of Slotomania, and this is the main screen, the main lobby as it appears on Facebook. And this is the first game we've created 4 years ago. And the next ones are some games that we released recently. And we've got Elvis. Now, from evolution to revolution. As you can imagine, it wasn't that bright and shiny at the beginning. Actually, it was quite difficult. It was quite difficult because nobody believed in the concept of creating casino games without the gambling element. The idea itself was very simple. To mix the unmixable. To mix money and free. Water and oil. So on one side, we had this real money gambling world with casino games, very sales-oriented design, ultra user-friendly user interface, and of course, real-life fantasy of becoming rich. On the other side, we had this brave new world of social games. It was very young 4 years ago, very messy, very chaotic, not so much user-friendly, but free-to-play, very communal fantasy world. The world of pure fun and imagination for free. So how do you mix them together? Very, very simple. By chipping away everything that wasn't Slotomania from the 2 worlds. So we've defined 4 major characteristics from the both universes. Highly user-friendly interface, the games, of course, from the real money gambling, and free-to-pay fantasy world. Mix them all together, and we've got this basic definition of user experience and the basic UI, the basic layout built of 4 major sections. User status bar, user's personal area, the social zone, and of course the playground, the game zone. This big red area is the most important area in the application. The games are the reason users keep coming back and play. And talking from the experiential perspective, each of the game represents a gateway. Having defined the layout, the experience, we had this quite well-crafted, not bad, quite simple application, but we were missing one more thing, one toughest challenge. How do you take gambling out of gambling? So again, you can imagine that the thinking process and everything around it was a nightmare, it was very difficult. But the solution was very simple. A progression. Progression is probably the main element in all the computer games, except of casinos. It was never implemented in the casino games. So most of you are probably familiar with this annoying lock icon when you struggle to achieve the next level, to unlock the game, just to take a look what's behind the door. So this feeling of anticipation, this feeling of discovery, this curiosity, the stubbornness, combined with social features like competition, created for us this ultimate replacer for gambling. Yeah, so this little guy actually created our application. The whole game economy built around this progression. You can see that by giving simple answers to complex problems, you can reach quite successful, lovable application, and on the way, invent the whole new industry of social games. Remember, we were first social casino application on the web. We have this successful application. What now? Simplify it even further. But before we move to some examples, I would like to point out one thing. When I personally approach each project, I ask two main questions. There are much more questions around it, but those are the main ones. Why and what? Why does the user need a certain feature, a certain design? And what do we want from the user? What do we want him to feel and do? And the answers for those questions must be as simple as possible. And for that, you must know your users. Know, love, and respect to user. So I know my users. My users are quite average, not very savvy, not very technically advanced, not young. They are pretty much like my mother. So as Einstein said, if you can't explain an idea to a 6-year-old, probably the idea sucks. So if I can't explain a design to my mother, the design is probably bad. So my message to you is know your users and respect them. And now let's proceed for simplification in action. There are two examples of simplification, the functionality and the user experience, that eventually achieved quite good results. The first one would be this ran out of coin screen. And there is always bummer to get one of those in the middle of the game when you just few clicks away from the big win. And not only that it brings bad news, it also confuses. So we as a company offer the user to buy coins or to play. So it stands in front of a dilemma. So the mission here was to increase the performance, to improve the performance of this buy coins button. So what we did, very simple. We just lost the play button. So finally the user clearly can understand what do we want from him. And of course, improve the design to something more trustable. So this little change improved the performance of this buy coins button by literally 10%. And of course, influenced the general overall revenues of the application. The second screen is the mega bonus screen. So mega bonus is one of the mini games scattered around the application and allows users to win more free coins. So when we initially designed, we were absolutely sure that the users need all this information to calculate their wins. But at some point, we realized that users come to us to be entertained, to have fun, not to do the math. So mission here was to improve the overall user experience. And we did a very simple thing. First of all, we redesigned it totally. And the second major change was we left one single button over this Wheel of Fortune screen. Spin. No confusion, no distractions, just spin to win. And when you get the results, you have these big gold numbers with the coins and the big collect button. That's everything that you need. If you are curious, you can always click on these information icons to understand how you've got to this result. But remember, this screen was redesigned not to improve the performance, but to improve the overall experience, to make this feature more enjoyable. We all know that enjoyable experience equals satisfied users, and satisfied users equals loyal users that will come back and play again and again. And the last thing, this is my personal revelation about the experience, the simplicity, is simplicity is not always about minimalism. For designers of you, probably it will be more interesting. We are all now crazy about this new flat design thing. Very, very fashionable, very accurate, probably very correct way to design. So when we've got the project of redesigning the Slotomania mobile application, the first thing I was thinking of is to create it in flat design, to be the first application on the web that uses flat design as a base. So we have this is, by the way, the original application. We had a quite stable UI. We loved the UI, but we needed to be more updated. So we started to play with the flat design, with these outlines and bold colors and fonts, and bright background over dark background, and icons and buttons with shadow or without shadows. But at some point, and we really struggled, by the way, to make it cool, to make it fancy and trendy. But at some point, we realized that we are working in the industry that creates fantasies, and fantasies are not made of flat sheets of paper or mathematical formulas. They're made of rainbows and sparkles and layers of colors. So we started to play and add more and more layers of experience to define it. And finally, we reached this guy. By the way, please meet new Slotomania on mobile. It was released yesterday for Android. So here we've achieved this this exact feeling, this exact experience, to make it a bit disco, a bit retro, a bit combination of Vegas and so on. So my message here is don't force yourself and don't be frustrated if you can't apply something trendy into your design. It won't always work, and it's okay. Just create beautiful designs for your users. And that's all for today. The last thing, there are 4 messages for you, from me to you. Think simple, seek for simple solutions for complex questions and problems. Simplify whatever and whenever you can. And the most important one is love and respect to your users. The reason you are here is because of them. That's it. Thank you.